Oh, hi. Hi. I wasn't doing nothing. Uh, what are- what are you doing back so soon? I just did a video a couple days ago. You want another one? What's this? Scoob, people want another video. Questions and answers. Oh, one of my buddies from work, Michael, left a question. He said, I like your Schwarzenegger, which way to the beach? Is it over there? Is it over there? I'm taking, adding protein to my coffee and I put it in there. He said, do you do any other impressions? And I'm like, well, yeah. Michael, I'll get to you later. Some of you guys left some really great comments and some great questions. However, some of them require a lengthy response. When are my responses not lengthy? Can I do anything short? No. So I picked out two easy questions. All right. And I will be dealing with those. And then I, you guys, I did something fun today, something I've never done before. There's a lot of things I've never done before. I want to show you that, but yeah, this is Q&A number 2 of 47. Okay. All right, let's go. And by the way, in the last video, I said I was not going to do another video until I do my mowing. I still haven't mowed yet. It's Sunday about noon. I'm waiting for the dew to dry. All right. Overnight, the grass is, the grass is, you're not supposed to mow wet grass. So in my defense, and what do you think is going to be the number one thing that I'm not going to miss when I go on the road full time? Fill in the blank. Yeah, I don't have to mow the rocks and dirt and, I'm in a good mood. All right. I'm usually in a good mood. Question number 1. And this was actually more of a comment. My buddy Kenneth says, Jim, why not have your mail forwarded to your property in Scotland? And most of you know, Kenneth and I go way back. He's a buddy of mine. We both started meetup groups. His was hiking and mine was tennis, but we both have led hiking groups. I remember leading a hiking group. I think I had like 20 people show up and it was 10 below. And we hiked around this. Well, anyway, so here I go telling stories again. Never mind. So Kenneth, yeah, why not have your mail forwarded to your property in Scotland? Did you guys know? Some of you know, if you go back far enough, if you've been with me for a while, you know that I own property in Scotland. Let me switch over. So here we are. These are my roots, all right? Norway and Sweden. I'm actually Swedish, you guys, but my grandparents came directly from Sweden. But you know what? I tell people I'm Norwegian because I actually like Norway better. But all right, so here's Scotland. All right, here's the UK. Blimey. Here's bloody United Kingdom. Michael, I'm doing this as I go, all right? Different, Ireland. All right, I'm fascinated with the Ireland accent. You know why? Because with the Irish accent, every sentence sounds like a question. I'm having a good day. Well, are you? I'm having a good day. That was terrible, but so yeah, you guys, I own property in Scotland, south of Edinburgh. So let's zoom into my property. So why not have my mail forwarded here? And great question, Kenneth. Here's the Don Quixote Outdoor Center. It's close to that, which is why I picked this property. Um, do you guys remember? I think it was a musical, Man from La Mancha. Um, my brother and sister both, which have passed, but they played piano and they would play songs from Man from La Mancha. To dream the impossible dream. Remember that stuff? So that's where, Don Quixote, I'm not sure if he was an actual person or not, but let me switch layers. And so let's zoom into my property. And I responded to Kenneth. I said, well, the problem with having my mail forwarded here is because the mailbox that's actually on my land is actually G.I. Joe size. The mailbox is about this big. And so the only thing that would fit in there would be email. So, so, but here's my land. And I'm lucky because other people own this land over here, but this is, easy for me to get my trailer in here. If I decide to travel Europe, you know, the way things are going in America right now, but I'm taking your mind off of all that stuff right now, right? So, but yeah, traveling Europe, I thought about it. So I bought land in Scotland. Now, the problem is, my land is 1 square foot. So it's about this big, which is why the mailbox is so small, So if I want to park my trailer on my land, I have to check with my neighbors and just see if anybody's there or not, because I can get like one wheel on my trailer on my land at a time, and then I have to like move my trailer, if people are going to show up or whatever. But no, it was a fundraiser. This is a national park preserve or something, and so you donate money to this fundraiser, and they actually give you a deed for your property, which allows you to use the term Lord. So, and I can't find it, but I have my certificate that says Lord James Clark. You know, so so yeah, Kenneth, I thought about that, but yeah, my mailbox is just way too small. So, all right, next question. And by the way, sorry, I keep going off, but by the way, Kenneth showed up to my tennis meetup on Sunday mornings. We had a blast, and some people in the group were really serious and they were keeping score and everything. And, but some of us were just hitting balls back and forth and just laughing and having a great time. And so, Kenneth, let me know if you want. I've got 2 tennis rackets. Kathy gave me one after my nice head racket got busted. I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but somebody hit a really good shot right over the net, and I hit it back hard and busted my strings. So you're welcome to have, because I'm not taking them camping with me. So if you want those 2 rackets, and I've got a bunch of brand new balls, like still in the can, waiting to fart. Right? When you open a can of tennis balls, it's like, psst, And I did that in front of the group a couple of times and people laughed. But so yeah, Kenneth, let me know if you want my stuff with the bag, with the carrying bag and everything. You'll have to restring that one racket, but it's got a good frame. So anyway, sorry you guys, let's keep going. In all seriousness, something you guys maybe don't know about me. I've never really told you about it before, but something that I've been suffering with, pretty much my whole life is verbal diarrhea. So, question two, let's keep going. Kathy Ann says or asks, what's the longest period of time you've spent in your trailer so far? Well, great question. The trailer is actually paid off, fortunately. But to answer the question, when I first bought the trailer and parked it in my driveway, the first month, I slept in my trailer each night. I would bring my stuff in there and sleep overnight. And, because I slept way better in there than I did in my bedroom 30 feet away that way, like in the last video, right? So I have spent some time in there. But to answer the question, I did a road trip when I first got my camper. The first trip I did was up to Fargo Moorhead, um, northwest of here, to visit my son because I was a brand new grandpa. My son had a baby, um, so I went up to visit him and his girlfriend, and I stayed in a state park for I think 3 nights or something. And you know what, you guys? The very first video that I did on this channel was during that trip. So I'll leave a link in the description. And back then, the channel was called No Hurry, No Worry. I thought, that might make a good name for a channel, camping. And, I don't have to get there at any specific time or anything. I'm just camping and, it's casual, right? Well, then I decided Mad Camper would be a much better fit for like my personality. Okay, so let me interrupt. So that very first video I did was 3 years ago. In that video, I said, I'm retiring in 2 or 3 years, and then I'm going on the road full time. That was 3 years ago. Do the math. So I run into people at work, and I always say I'm sorry when I run into somebody, but they're like, so when are you retiring? And I tell them now in 2 or 3 years. So most of I got set back a year, because of my cancer treatment. But so my retirement is getting pushed back, which is a good thing because the more you work, the longer you work, the more Social Security. And because I'm a public employee working for the government, county government, my pension gets, bigger the longer I work, right? So yeah, so my budget is looking better and better, right? So yeah, so I stayed in my camper, and funny story, you guys, I'm going off again. I'm not sure we'll get to my fun thing I did today. But you guys, and if you watch that video, something funny happened when I'm done camping up in Fargo Moorhead 3 nights or whatever. And I pull out of the campground because I was kicked out. I'll explain in the video. But I'm just 10 minutes away from the campground, and a lady pulled up. I'm on Highway I-94 on the way back here, and a lady pulled up to me, and she's like, And I'm like, what's going on? What? There's something wrong. She wants you to pull over. And so I pull over, and I had a huge blowout on one of my trailer tires. And I remember thinking about it. I clipped a curb when I was pulling onto the highway. And I think that's when the blowout happened. But if you watch that video, it's really funny because I actually hold up my rim. It was fine. I fixed I was prepared. I fixed the flat, like, I don't know, 15 minutes or something. But I hold up the rim, and in that video, I say, you guys, look at this rim. Both sides of the rim were on the road, and there were sparks flying out the back of my trailer. I wish I had video of that. So that was my very first trip that I ever took in my camper. And by the way, that was the only trip that I've taken in my camper. The trailer has been sitting in my driveway, minding its own business. I go in and out and just check to make sure there's no water leaks, which there was. There was a half an inch of water sitting on my bed. Remember, that was a few videos ago. I told you about that. So I had to get on the roof and seal that all up. So, but yeah, so Kathy Ann, to answer the question, yeah, I took 3 nights. I went up to Fargo, and I had you guys, it was just an amazing introduction to what I'm going to be doing, like, full time. I didn't really know what to expect. Like, you pull into a state park, or whatever. And what do you do with the time? I don't know if I said it in the video, but I remember time slows down during our normal life, doing the stuff we do, and especially, especially with me, you know, barf, excuse me, excuse me, edit. Especially during our daily life, we're busy doing stuff, laundry and dishes, and, making sure Honey Bun is comfortable hanging from the chains, and media, on our phones constantly. When I was camping, time slowed down, and it was so refreshing. I built a fire, I sat there, and you just think about stuff, you know? In that video, if you watch it, I did a time lapse of the moon going up over my camper. I'll never forget it, you guys. I'm just being serious. That was like, I had apothecary, no, an hypothesis, an epiphany, and a epiphany or something. It was amazing. I just sat there, and the campground was quiet because I was the only one there. That's why I got kicked out. It was perfect silence, and I watched the moon go up. That's what I'm looking forward to when I go on the road. I'm not looking forward to mowing. So, you know what? I'm thinking, Kathy Ann, great question. Yeah, I have not slept in my camper for a while. But it's been sitting in my driveway. I had a 5-year loan. So that video was 3 years ago. Well, you do the math, but anyway, the camper's paid off. And I haven't slept in there since, but I should, because it's really comfortable. I don't know why, but I just sleep really good in there. The windows on both sides are open, and the breeze goes through, I don't know. So that's what I'm looking forward to when I get out of here and get rid of. Nobody wants my subwoofer. Nobody has said they want that yet, but let me know. And I've got a bunch of 10 and a half size shoes, men's, that are, nobody wants my shoes. Nobody said you want Head and Shoulders. So I'm going to put this on the ball on my hitch, just to make sure it's lubricated, right? So you guys, the fun thing that I did today might have to wait because you guys know me. I blab on and on. So I really hope you're having a good day. I hope you smiled a little bit. And I appreciate all of your comments and your questions. We'll get to them in episode 3 of 47. I was in a silly mood. I got to go out and mow. All right, have a great day, you guys, and I'll talk to you later. All right, have a great day. That's what I'm talking about. Science!